my name is Danielle Henrici, and I am the founding co-artistic director of Fenimore Art Museum's and the Farmers Museum's Glimmer Globe Theatre. And this is the second installment of Shakespeare in Action, our educational series on understanding and acting Shakespeare. Watching Shakespeare's plays live or on TV might seem daunting at first. You may wonder if you'll be able to understand anything said and worry that you'll be lost the whole time. If actors are doing their job, I promise you'll follow along. First of all, your ear tunes to the language pretty quickly. It is English, after all, albeit heightened. The more time you spend listening, the faster it all makes perfect sense. Second of all, remember that Shakespeare's plays were written to be experienced, seen, felt, and heard. Words themselves, yes, but also tone, volume, and intention. The actors will use their bodies, movement, voice, and facial expressions to help you understand what is happening. It's like watching a great foreign film. You get the gist of it, even without the words. Even if you don't catch all the fine details, you'll get the broad strokes. Then, of course, costumes tell you a lot about character. Music and lighting create mood, and sets, sometimes elaborate, sometimes rudimentary, tell you where the action is happening. It's a 360-degree experience. You're submersed in a world, and the actors and creative designers all help tell the story. Okay, so that covers being an audience member. But what about acting Shakespeare? Everything starts with the text. Correction, everything starts with understanding the text. We could spend hours talking about the extraordinary ways in which Shakespeare uses language. Shakespeare himself was a playwright, but he was also an actor, writing for actors. He wanted to make it easy for actors to remember, just as he wanted to make it easy for audiences to be moved. Here are a few tips. Shakespeare wrote most often in Iambic Pentameter. Every line has 5 metrical feet, each with one short, unstressed syllable and one long, stressed syllable. Iambic pentameter does create a natural rhythm. Use it, but don't let it use you. No sing-song. Speak as you would normally speak, informed by the principle. Whenever the pattern is broken, it's meaningful and intentional. Shakespeare may be leaving space for the actor to pause, to think, to move, or even to be interrupted. Speak in complete thoughts, not line by line, using punctuation as a roadmap. Periods, question marks, and exclamation points usually denote the end of an idea, followed by a shift in thought or action. Imagery is rich in Shakespeare. Use it to inform your emotion, to color your speech, and to paint a picture for the audience. Repetition is always intentional in Shakespeare. It means the word is important and needs special attention. If the simple word "oh" appears 4 times in a row, let each time you say it express something different. Shakespeare used stage directions rarely. Most of the time, he tells the actor what they're doing in the lines themselves, so you have to pay attention. Sounds the words make are clues and cues to how the character feels. Sharp, clipped tones often connote anger or distress. Big, open vowels can be joyful and loving or woeful, depending on the situation. Get inside the sounds, roll around in them. Use the sounds to express the emotional state of the character. The same thing goes for assonance and alliteration. Listen. Listen to the other actors on stage. You cannot tune out, because the whole point is that you are reacting off of each other. For goodness sakes, listen. It will inform how you feel and move and deliver your own lines when they come. Please remember that while the circumstances in some of the plays may seem fantastical or dated at times, at their most basic, they are stories about flesh and blood people, just like you and me. They have the same fears, the same joys, the same loves, jealousies, the same rages. External things like modes of transportation and dress have changed, but humanity hasn't. 500 years from now, Shakespeare will still be as relatable as it is today and as current as it was when it was written 500 years ago. All the script requires is that you breathe life into it. Shakespeare left a lot of room for interpretation. Enjoy that liberty. Make it your own. Find the intention, find the humor, find the pain, find the romance, find whatever it is Shakespeare gave us, and marry it to your own perspectives and experiences. Every Hamlet and every Lady Macbeth is different, and each one is valid if they come from a truthful place. The best way to start is to make sure you understand what you're saying. Simply break down the text into complete thoughts, again, using punctuation as a guide. We'll call these chunks of text ideas. Then, take those ideas and translate. Things are always less daunting when you take them in small pieces, and suddenly you realize that you do actually understand. It was just being said faster than you could interpret. Of course, it helps to know the context of the scene as well. Understanding and identifying with what you're saying is the key to being able to convey meaning to an audience. Once you understand the words, you'll be ready to put it on its feet and play. So, in our next lessons, we'll dig into character, objectives, intention, and action. But right now, let's take a monologue and translate it. Below this video is a worksheet that you can download and follow along as my husband, Michael, breaks down the Dagger Speech from Macbeth.
So, let's take a look at the Dagger Speech from Act 2, Scene 1 of Macbeth. In this scene, Macbeth and his wife have conspired and are plotting to kill the King of Scotland and assume power, and this is Macbeth being left alone to do the deed. So, let's take a look at the text on the page. We'll just read it straight forward. Then we'll go back and pick it apart line by line, look at the imagery in the text, and look for clues that Shakespeare has left us as actors. And then we'll read it once more informed by those clues. So, the text. Is this a dagger which I see before me, the handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeoned gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. So, that's the section of the speech we'll be looking at today, and let's go through the lines. Starting right at the beginning, is this a dagger which I see before me, the handle toward my hand? So there's no reason to break it off at which I see before me, the handle toward my hand. It's all part of the same thought. We're giving the audience the information that there is a dagger that they cannot see, but Macbeth can. So it's one thought. Is this a dagger which I see before me, the handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. So very clear action. He's reaching for the dagger. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. So, We don't have special effects. We don't have film overlays, so we have to tell the audience what's going on. He's reaching for the dagger. The hand passes right through it, So it's a ghost, phantom dagger of some kind. Art thou not, feel vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? So, once again, selling the image of, I can see you, why can't I touch you? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain. So now he's questioning his senses at this point. I saw a dagger, I can't touch it. Am I hallucinating because I have a fever, the heat-oppressed brain? Now, there's another clue in the heat-oppressed brain, that it's a short line. The lines in general are supposed to have 10 syllables, but if we look at proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain, leaves us one short. So where is it extra syllable? It's in oppressed, which we will pronounce as oppressed. This is a common way to fill out the meter of a line. And plus, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain has a much better rhythm than proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain, that which does not flow as well. I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. So it's still there. Try to grab it. Can't do it. It's still there. But to me, it looks just as solid as, the one that I have. And if you look at that line as well, as this which now I draw is also not 10 syllables. It's a short line. There's no way to add extra syllables to those words, and you're not supposed to. That pause is there because it's giving Macbeth time to actually perform the action, as this which now I draw. It gives a beat there for that to happen. So another clue. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going. So the dagger is actually leading him possibly up the stairs to where the king is sleeping. And not just leading, marshallest. It's commanding him. It's marching him where he needs to go. It's ordering. And such an instrument I was to use. Obviously, this is leading him to go commit a murder. So then he switches now. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses. Okay, obviously this can't be real. My eyes are lying to me. Wait for it. Or else worth all the rest. So starts questioning his eyes. Okay, obviously this can't be real. My eyes are lying to me. Or maybe they aren't. Maybe it's all my other senses lying to me. Maybe it's my sense of touch lying to me. Maybe my eyes are telling me a deeper truth than my other senses are. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. So now the image has changed from just, a dagger thing there. Now the dagger is covered in blood and gore. It's gone from preceding the act to completing the act. It's leading him to go commit a murder. There's no getting around that. Which sets him off again. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. So once again, saying, no, it's not real. I've been planning and plotting with my wife to kill someone, and that's weighing in my mind, and that's why I'm seeing this. So let's go back, read it again, using what we've learned from going line by line. Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind? A false creation proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain. I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses. Or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dungeon gouts of blood which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. And there you go.